Alright, and now let's get to color planning. Oops, sorry about that. I banged my elbow too hard. Anyways, so let's get to color planning. Now, I hope you guys have your Crayola, since this is a, for those who are using Crayola, hope you guys have it pretty organized. I have them all organized by color, or color scheme. So I have my browns and my light browns here on the side. Don't mind the clanking. I wish I didn't have so much clanking. Anyways, and then I have my blues all organized. Not by order, not in particular order, just by similar colors. And then I have my reds and my violets, you know, all in one. And I'm just having them by me just in case. I have my yellows and my oranges. And these are about, I think these are 50 pencils here, so more than enough. And then we have our greens. So what we're going to do is we are going to be color planning. So what do I mean by color planning? Well, when you have an illustration like this, you don't want to just, go straight and color right away. Now, for those who have Photoshop, or for those who still have some digital programs, what you guys can do is you can take your line work, you either scan it or just take a picture of it. You transfer it to Photoshop, and add a layer on top of your image and put it on multiply. And then what you need to do afterwards is just color on top of it. So some people do that as preparatory work. Some people do it even traditionally as well by printing multiple sheets of your line work, making some copies and then coloring on top to see what looks best. However, I'm going to do a more simpler method, which is, it works, but I would prefer doing this digitally. But since we're doing this traditionally and we're not going to make copies of this because I don't have a printer, let's go ahead and just do some color bars. So what do I mean by color bars? So basically I'm going to be aligning some different colors on the side of this canvas just to see what colors match well. So I have always envisioned this piece to have, a lot of purples and pinks to it, just because I kind of like those kind of color palettes. I would say mainly I would say mainly, what's it called? Mainly pinks, purples, and blacks, I would say, for this illustration. Now the background will be a little bit of a different thing, but let's first start off with the character. So let's take our hair color, at first glance, and we can make multiple bars to see which one works best. So we have plenty of space to work on this. So I'm going to be using, for her hair color, I'm going to be using an orchid, and maybe a little bit of violet. So I'm going to be just putting this in. Let's see here. Let's get 3 colors each. So I'm going to take an orchid. I'm going to take my lighter color, which is this is pale rose, which is sort of like a, let me just test this out here. Sort of a violet, more violet color. And then I'm going to have my purple here. So what I'm going to do is what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to just put these color bars here. Just have one little thing here. So this is my darkest, this is my medium color, and then this would be my lightest color. So I have my purple as my darkest, and I have my orchid as my medium, and my lightest light possibly is pale rose. And if I wanted, I also want a little bit of pink in it, so I'm going to take my let's see, what is this here, magenta here, and just add a little accent on top, so just to see what it looks like in comparison with everything else. So all these colors pretty much match up really well, so I'm going to zoom in just so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hopefully that this is a good, let me just move some pencils here back and forth, just so I don't, let me just move these here so I can have more space for you guys to see. So this is what it looks like so far. This is our magenta, this is our violet, and this is our orchid, and this is our lightest pale rose here. So that's, one example of how you can plan your colors. You can just, draw some little bars here and just see how they work together. Whoops. How they work together. So these work together for the hair so far, so I'm going to continue with that. Now let's go for the skin. Her skin's going to be more of a paler color, so all I'm really going to do is just put my peach here, but I'm going to lightly put it in. And that's it for the... And since we know how to shade the skin with our color pencils already, I'm not going to put anything for the skin here other than just this. This is our skin tone. For her clothing, I would sort of imagine it to be I like things with contrast. So I like, if I want to make this outfit look nice, I want there to be a light, dark, light, dark, light, dark pattern. So for instance, if my shirt is going to be black, I want the ribbon to stand out. So I want that to be more maybe like a lighter color. Same thing with this. I don't want everything to be black because then that would blend in too much. So I would kind of do like a pattern between the two. So let's start off with our ribbon. So our ribbon, I kind of imagine to be a nice light pink. I would probably imagine it to just be, this pink here. Whoa, my headphones fell off. So this is our pink. This is where our ribbon is. Because this is outside of our canvas, it's not going to be shown anyway, so it doesn't hurt. You're going to cut this out anyway at some point. So this is our pink. Then we're going to take we're going to take a black here. And this is just, for an example here. Because I'm not going to use full black. I'm going to use probably a mixture of blacks, of a black and a blue. So I'm going to just put black here for now. So this is a black next to the pink. And so far it matches pretty well with the overall vibe of the illustration. So let's say this is our, if you want to imagine this pink is our ribbon and then the black is the shirt, then what comes of this top here? Well, the top can also be a lighter color to just, overlap on top of the black. So it could be, let's see. We could use this color again, pink again, for the top, for the straps here and the top layer, and then a really hot pink for maybe the straps. But before we do the straps, what is the color of this going to be? Well, since we already have a light, dark, light pattern already, maybe this part could be more dark. So I will put black for now. So this would be kind of like a striped look, I would say. But maybe we'll mix it up with a violet, just to kind of keep it interesting. So you just want to make sure that all these colors, match the overall vibe of the character. That's another thing. So I will probably be using these colors mostly for the character. Let's see. So we have our darks for our top, and then for our lace, I would use a. Let me think. Actually, I got it. So I think what I'm going to do is for the inside, I'm going to make it a magenta. And then afterwards, the lace could be black. So far, similar pink, black, and then sort of hotter pink, black. And, the other details can go along, smoother. For the skirt or the belt, let's see. I would sort of imagine if I were to, go with a pink, pink dark kind of vibe, I would say if I want this to stand out, I would either have to make this emblem black or pink. And I think that will also have to, take into account of what the color of the skirt is going to be. So I want the skirt to be a light pink. And so to contrast the light pink with the dark color, I'm going to use a black for that. So once again, black, and then a pink on top. This is just a rough color bar here. Once again, these can change however you want. So now we have the belt all figured out. Now we also have the skirt figured out. So the skirt will probably be a pink as well. And then maybe we'll also accent it with some black. How about that? So a lot of this is just kind of repetitive here. But I'm just adding it as like a little log. For the socks, I definitely want it to be black. So I'm going to put black there. Maybe I'll have an ombre of black and pink and purple. So I'm going to take my black, I'm going to take my magenta, and I'm going to take my violet or purple. Whoa, that was not good. Just as a little note here. And for these shoes, if this is going to be dark, I want to contrast it again with a light. And that's just my personal preference. I like, contrasting colors, so each of them pop out. And for the for the shoes, I want it to be a nice bright pink. Once again, a lighter pink, I would say. So I'm going to take a bubblegum color. This color is quite nice. And then I'm going to make the soles black. So as you can see, by layering colors on top, you can kind of see, you know, the pattern of where this outfit's going to go. And the paws are just going to be black maybe, and then maybe the insides would probably be pink. The bells would be yellow, and the like. So that's how I would kind of do color bar, kind of do like colors here. So it's up to you if you want to do it that way. I would prefer, ultimately, the best result would be to actually take this into Photoshop and then just draw and color over and just see. So anyways, let's just get started with our coloring. So let's start off with her hair. Let's start off with the skin first of all, because that's always nice to start off with. I'm actually going to end this video real quick. Actually, before I do that, I want to actually do the backgrounds. So I want to see, so since most of the character is pink and black and purples, we need a good background to support these colors. Now, I don't want the background to be completely pink and purple again. I want it to be kind of like a color that supports the overall character and not make it, you know, super jarring. So I would think that for the background, I'm going to have to think on it a little bit. Let's see. So if I kind of imagine, you know, everything's just kind of like a purple, pink, black, purple, pink, black. I would say the legs here, or sorry, not the legs, the blanket here would probably be a nice, would probably have to be a paler color, if anything. So I'm going to take a cloud blue, and I'm going to put it next to my color bar. So this will be, you know, maybe the blanket. The blanket color is roughly. The pillows can probably be a lighter or paler color. So I would actually make the background a little bit duller. So I'm not going to make the background very saturated. I'm actually going to dull it down a little bit because I want the character to be in focus. So if you want your character to be in focus with the color wise, you want to make sure that these have more powerful colors in the background. If you have powerful colors in the background and not so much in the foreground, then the background will compete with the character. So what you want to do is make sure that the character is all nice and set with their own set of colors, and make sure it's nice and bright, and to, you know, kick back on the, and you know, if you want to make the character stand out more, then the background has to be more dull. So I'm going to take various, you know, hues of blues and pinks and choose the more duller versions. So I have a cloud blue and a pale rose, and I'm going to use a blue, like a light blue for the curtains maybe, or a duller purple for the curtains. So I'm just going to put those here. So putting these next to this, you know, if you put your background colors next to this here, you can kind of see what catches your eye more. Does this catch your eye more, or does this catch your eye more? Obviously, because these colors are a lot more powerful, these will catch your eyes more. So this is a more appropriate color for the background. So I'm just going to be putting those there for now. I may change these later on as I color, but so far, you know, everything seems to be pretty good. For these little decorations here, they're either probably going to be a light or dark. I'm not entirely sure which one it will be yet, but so far these are just going to be our main colors. We're going to be using those, and then yeah, let's get to it. So that'll be it for this video on color planning. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.